follow the agenda on the screen.
Not the pink one?
Yeah, we're getting new printed copies. Those are from the last meeting. Could we do the roll call, please, Mrs. Geller?
Amy, Hanson,
Present.
Baker,
Present.
Montague,
Present.
Murphy,
Present.
Ryerson,
Present.
and Lund.
Present. All right, I need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. First up this evening, as always, are our reports. Our student board representative is not here this evening as she has a varsity volleyball game tonight, so we will move along to Mr. Sosowski for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, and welcome everybody this evening. I do have a couple things based on public comments from last week. We do appreciate the additional information that members of our community have provided to us since our last board meeting. As previously stated, Linden Community Schools has 5 buildings that are listed on the injunction list. These buildings are Hyatt, Linden Elementary, Central Elementary, Linden Middle School, and Linden High School. The United States Department of Education has released guidance that the 2020 Title IX regulations will be followed for complaints of discrimination on the basis of sex involving the 5 buildings on the injunction list, which is Linden Community School Board Policy 2266. This policy has been in place since its adoption by the Linden Community School Board of Education since August 5th of 2020. For Linden Community School facilities that are not on the injunction list, if a complaint is reported, we will follow Linden Community School Board Policy 2264, which was adopted on July 17th, 2024. Regardless of the policy that needs to be followed, the day-to-day operations of Linden Community Schools pertaining to student protections remains the same. We will continue to monitor the ongoing litigation until subsequent rulings from the courts are issued that will provide clarity concerning the status of Title IX regulations and the United States Department of Education's ability to implement such regulations. Linden Community Schools will continue to adhere to laws, regulations, and guidance regarding Title IX. Ms. Masali commented on the types of support we provide our students who need additional help in the areas of English and math. For the K-5 level, we have opportunities for small group pull-out intervention based on teacher recommendation and NWEA screeners. Student assistant teams, which provide Tier 1 and Tier 2 level support opportunities for students, and this is implemented in all buildings K-12. Supplemental math and English resources at the K-5 level, which includes eSpark for K-3 and Freckle for grades 4 and 5. Both are available in the school as well as use at home. Math Accelerator for grades 3 to 5, which links math growth with Khan Academy. For the middle school level, grades 6 through 8, includes after-school tutoring, exploratory options for math and English intervention, Alex, which is a supplemental math resource that is also available for home use, Freckle, which is a supplemental math resource that is available for home use, and I apologize, Alex is an English resource now. Sorry. Freckle is the English. I had them both listed as math, so let me repeat that. Alex is a supplemental math resource that is also available for home use, and Freckle, which is a supplemental English resource, is available for home use. We also have Varsity Tutor, which is an online resource available to all students that provides high-dose tutoring. At the 9-12 level, we have after-school tutoring, co-taught courses with pull-out opportunities, courses to support students' level based on their academic achievement, as well as the aforementioned Varsity Tutor. In total, we have 7 math intervention tutors throughout the district. Mrs. Masali also commented that our scores were not good. Yes, there's always room for improvement. Ms. Thomas will present our standardized assessment scores as required on October 23rd to the board. You'll be happy to know that in Genesee County, Linden was number 1 in 5th grade ELA, 6th grade math, 7th grade math, 8th grade math, and ranked in the top 2 or 3 in many other grades and subject areas. Another question that was asked had to do with student to staff ratio. According to the myschooldata.com, our district average is 18.6 students per 1 instructional staff. The state's average is 17 to 1. We also received comments about using the multi-purpose building as a polling place for members of Argentine community. This will be discussed later in today's meeting. Moving on to additional reports. Donation to the marching band. In accordance with Linden Community School Board Policy 7230, gifts, grants, and bequests, we have accepted a donation from the City of Linden. The donation was a 2013 used Bobcat UTV to be used for the Linden High School Marching Band. The donation will make it much easier and efficient for the marching band to move equipment around. The estimated value of the donation, according to the city of Linden, is between $2,000 and $3,000. The Genesee County Association of School Board Members will hear a presentation from the Michigan College Access Network, MCAN, and the Genesee County Career and College Access Network. I'm not even going to give you that acronym. They'll be sharing information about the state and county initiatives related to Michigan's 60 by 30 goal, which basically means by 2030, 60% of working age Michiganders will have a certificate or college degree. Board members, if you are interested, please RSVP to Ms. Callard no later than October 11th, and the event will start at 5:45 and include dinner. Board members, please mark your calendar. The annual Genesee County Area School Board Members Recognition Reception will take place on Thursday, December 5th at Zender's at Frankenmuth. Invitations will be sent out in October. And then the last one I have, I believe it was today we received it. Linden High School STEM and science teachers received a $1,000 grant from the MySTEM Network. This grant will be used to create wicker gardens, a project-based learning opportunity for students. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Russ. Are there any board members with reports this evening? All right, seeing none, I have just a couple quick things. I had already informed Mr. Sosowski, and I was just talking with Mr. Maker, but I will be out of town for a work conflict on Wednesday, November 6th. So Mr. Maker will plan to take the lead for that meeting that night. I'm just letting everyone know in advance I won't be here that evening. Another thing I had on my list to start thinking about is if we want to do a board act for the Follies this year. That always creeps right up on us. I don't know when the Follies will be, but if that's something we are interested in, I know we have some creative geniuses amongst us, me not being one of them, and we can maybe think about something for that as well. And then the other thing, I guess, it just kind of popped in my mind. I don't know really what made it come to my mind, but in Mr. Sosowski's board report this week, there was some information in there about Central Elementary students coming down to the high school to the inventions class and testing out their board games and things. And I thought that was a really cool thing. So I don't know how that came about, but thank you for sharing that with us. And I think that's something that was new, if I'm not mistaken. And so I thought that was a really neat thing that the students came over and got to interact with the high school students and see that space and be part of that class as well. So it was a cool opportunity. Oh, yeah, I can. Mrs. Callard and Mr. Sosowski did put our request into MASB for a board workshop for our last couple of discussions regarding the $750 stipend that they were granting us. And we got some information back with a workshop with a few listed items that seem like it's right in line with what we discussed with different legal topics, student discipline, including some other things like that would be appropriate. We were planning for maybe late January, sometime in February, because by then we'll have our board based on after the election. So we're just kind of trying to iron out a date to get on everyone's calendar. I think right now we were looking at a Wednesday night, but determining whether we might do a Wednesday like 4:30 or 5, and then look to push the meeting back to 7, our regular meeting, or do a separate Wednesday for a regular workshop evening. So we'll kind of keep everybody posted. I guess if you have a preference on that, let me know, and we can consider that also. All right, I think that's all I have for this evening. So we do not have any special presentations tonight. I haven't figured out how best to use this microphone yet. It's like awkward. Anyway, and I look forward to the upcoming student recognitions. Those always make the board meetings more fun. I imagine we'll start those probably next month. We do not have any particular administrative updates this evening, so that brings us to public comments. Do we have any public comments, Mrs. Callard?
Yes, we have one, Sherry Tally Masally.
May have to hit that button, Sherry.
There's a button?
I want to copy that. I'll strip it off.
Maybe it was on.
Nope.
There you go, that's all right, you can use this one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The old standby button.
The
There
old
you go,
standby.
press the button. Got it. Well, thank you, Russ, for all the information. I do know that, yes, we can do better. Just looking at Southern Genesee County, all of our schools down here are not doing very good. With that said, half the students are doing great and the other half are not. So I had a question because there was a watchdog group that had, wrote an article this week in regards to Midland schools using the Lucy Calkins teaching method for, the ELA, and was wondering what method do we use? Because, that's been discredited now, and they're working on more of a science of reading, like phonics. And there's 2 Senate bills that are waiting to be passed, 567 and 568. And I think if we're using the Lucy Calkins teaching method, then because it's been discredited, that I think we need to move into maybe looking into something a little bit more. I know 51% on ELA is not great, but I know we could do better. I know I just got the new MSTEP scores for my granddaughter's class. Not good at all. And she's a great reader. I know the pandemic or whatever, the lockdowns did a whole lot of damage to these kids. And it's gonna take a while to get them caught back up, but now we're talking, she's got 2 years before she does the MSTEP again. So we really need to push these kids into their math and getting them focused. I've talked to both her literature and her math teachers and asked what more could we do, and we've been working on her on the laptop that she brings home. I just found out about the freckle. I just found out about that. I didn't know about Alex, so she's been on that. But maybe just because she's in 6th grade, she's gonna be doing, in 2 years, that's gonna be 5 years past lockdown, so we should be able to get our scores up. But Grand Blanc is down, granted, City of Flint is horrible, 90% are below standards. That's not good. I'm glad we're at 50-some%, but I know there's always room for improvement, but thank you. If you could check in on the Lucy Calkins, I'd appreciate that, because I think that Midland used that and their scores dropped 11 points in like a 2-year time frame. So just thought I'd bring that up.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other public comments this evening? Okay, then we will move along to the consent agenda, which consists of minutes from our work session meeting on September 4th, invoices for the month of August, and the personnel summary sheet. Do I have a motion and the emergency operations update, sorry. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we have a couple of action items this evening. The first being to appoint the Linden Community Schools delegate and alternate for the MASB Delegate Assembly on October 24th. Last meeting we discussed this, and Mrs. Hanson had volunteered to be the delegate, and I had offered to be the alternate for this year's delegate assembly. So unless there's anyone jumping out of their seats to take this spot, I would like a motion to appoint Brooke Hanson as the delegate and Sherry Luck as the alternate for the MASB Delegate Assembly.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, or jumping out of their seats?
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Brooke. Yeah, that's,
Oh, I will say that, they just sent out, you forwarded it to everyone, they sent out the delegate assembly handbook, so if everyone wants to take a look at that and then give me any comments that I can take to the assembly, I'd appreciate it.
perfect, yeah. Thank you. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, up second this evening is the Linden SRO contract renewal, with the rates for 2024 through 2028, and this was for the Linden and Hyatt campus, the contract with the city of Linden. We had this as a discussion item at the last board meeting and had lots of information to review. So it is the administrative recommendation to approve the renewal for 2024 to 2028 as it was presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any comments, questions, or discussion on this item? Do you have anything you'd
I
like to
do, just, I know Mr. Murphy asked, about the grant last week. So we were approved for $82,132, and we've expensed about 50% of that. So between now and December 31st of 2025, we will expense the remaining 50%. So we will be able to use the full funded, or the full amount that the state provided.
Very good, and I think as Mr. Murphy might have brought up before too, it's a possibility that there will be other opportunities for grants for this type of thing, but right now there's not. This is
That is correct.
perfect. All right, very good. Any questions or comments?
Just for clarification, then for next year, our 17,000-ish would be our payment. We take the 41,000 off the 58.
Only because I don't have the math in front of me, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, 24, 25, that's the one we're
24, 25, we'll be able to expense,
41,000
you know,
against
an argument, half of
58.
it, because that's what the match is for the grant. And then
half of 82, about 41,000.
up until December of 25.
Well, it would be half of the 58, Steve, on here.
Because it's calendar, year, not academic.
Right. I would-
The SRO contract, as you see here, is by school year.
Mm-hmm.
And then the grant from the Michigan State Police is based on an end date of December 31, 2025.
So,
And they have, I think in total, there were 10 reporting periods for the 3-year grant. So they have specific dates that we have to submit invoices and payments, and then the state reimburses Linden based on what we submit.
so part of it would be used on this year's cost. The 24, 25 amount, 58,000 is what we're gonna pay for this school year, basically.
That's the full amount of the SRO contract.
That's, yeah, that we pay that, yeah.
Yes.
So, and then next year, 25 to 26, so halfway through the year, the grant runs out, right?
That is
December of 25. So technically, you're saying that we just don't expense the whole 41,000 that we have left this year, we only use like 50% increments? I
Well,
don't
it's-
know,
Again, I don't know the percentage with the increments, but yeah, there are specific, like I said, 10 reporting periods over that 3-year period. And I don't know the intervals of those 10 reporting periods.
Right, there's probably 5, or there's probably four left at this point. So, okay, so, but we'll definitely get to use the full 82K.
Yes, sir.
In the end, 41,000 yet to use. Okay, thank you.
Very good, yeah, thanks for asking that question, Steve. All right, any other questions or comments on this? All right, seeing none, it is, has been moved and supported to approve the Linden SRO contract renewal as presented. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, up next is Brooke Hansen's attendance for CBA 320, and the 2024, preparing for your organizational meeting workshop. These are two different things, yes. So Brooke would like to attend these two MASB events. The CBA course is a virtual event, and the other is in person, both with a cost of, the first one is around $100, the other one's around $200, but 100 of it is reimbursable. It is the administrative recommendation to approve Brooke Hansen's attendance at these MASB events as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments on this? I will just thank Brooke again for her steadfast interest and ability to attend all these events and bring back lots of information for the board. So thank you for continuing your work on all of this. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we have a couple of discussion items this evening. The first up being the Linden Middle School Cedar Point trip. We've got information about the annual 8th grade Cedar Point trip at the end of the school year. Everyone got the field trip request to review in advance, so I guess I'll just put it out if anyone has questions or concerns or comments on this request.
Just,
Mr. Murphy?
yeah, just one, if, people wanted to provide their own transportation, would they be allowed to do that, I would assume?
No, we ask that students that attend under our umbrella ride the bus to and from.
Okay.
Now, we have had situations, based on medical, things of that nature, where we've had to.
But if family was gonna go.
Parents provide their own transportation typically.
Yeah, I
as
understand
well.
that, but
Mhm.
rather, okay, so.
Student rides bus.
Student rides bus. So the, yeah, and I don't, it doesn't show, doesn't show here what the cost of tickets are these days, but I think it's about $50 or thereabouts.
It was 100 per student.
Yeah, the ticket for the actual park.
Oh.
So I was just trying to figure out how much it would be.
Yeah, and they got
Charge
like a
for the
food,
bus
a drink band and things.
Oh, they've got some other trinkets beyond.
They get a band so they can get like a certain, like a meal and then unlimited
Okay.
drinks through the day. I only remember this because I recently had an 8th grader, so they pretty much get their money's worth out of it. I can just about guarantee that, but yeah.
Alright, very good, thank you.
Yeah, it's a cool event. I know the middle schoolers look forward to it. It's sort of something that they can look forward to as 8th graders, you know, before they head off to high school, like a celebratory field trip to, and for a lot of them, it's like the first field trip that they go on to without a lot of parental supervision, because there are parent chaperones and teachers there, but a lot of the kids,
Self-directed.
yeah, they're kind of self-directed, yeah, which is pretty cool for them too, so. All right, well, seeing no other questions or concerns, we'll go on, the consent agenda at the next meeting then. Thank you. And the next discussion item is the use of Linden Community Schools facilities for voting. As Mr. Soselsky mentioned, after, we had some public comments at the last meeting regarding, this possible collaboration. I know Mr. Soselsky's had a few follow-up meetings, after this, and he has got some information to provide to us this evening, as a follow-up to that. So we'll go ahead and let him share with us what he has, and then we'll have some discussion if anybody has any.
Yeah, so we did get some public comments from members of the Argentine community. I had a follow-up meeting with Gwen James, the clerk, as well as Leslie Brinkle, and I apologize, I don't know her official title.
The deputy clerk.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk, Greg Badass, and I met with them shortly after the board meeting, and then I had another follow-up phone call with Gwen today. So I just wanted to open this up for discussion with the board and kind of tell you where we're at. So after meeting with Ms. James, listening to the public comments, basically Argentine Township is asked to use a multi-purpose building as a polling location. They represent 3 precincts. They're looking for it for only the election days. They've indicated not for the early voting. And they cite safety issues from their standpoint, with first responders, space, parking, going in and out of where they currently hold the elections there, City Hall and the fire department. And to their credit, I would agree. I drive by there every time during the voting day, and it is it's chaotic, to say the least. So, looking at the 2024 dates, just for informational purposes, we have the primary election on August 6th, and then we have the general election coming up on November 5th. The 2025 election dates are August 5th of 2025, with the general election being November 4th of 2025. And the asterisk right now for the board purposes represents, after talking to Ms. James, at this point there are not ballot initiatives for those 2 elections, at this point. There could be. So again, that was for 2025. So some concerns that Linden Community School has, especially when students are in session. You'll hear that a lot today. We have approximately 800 students at Linden High School, 578 at Linden Middle School, 326 students on campus at any given time during the school day. Traffic, yes, our Linden High School parking lot, including the multi-purpose building lot, is about 350 spots. As I was talking to Mr. Murphy today, we have about 102 registered vehicles, but again, those are people that have registered to this point. Typically 60, maybe 70% of those spots on any given day, plus or minus. We do have district board policy 7510, use of school facilities. Basically, does provide that the school property is available for elections, but that the operation of schools takes priority. Additionally, the administrative guidelines state that the use of school facilities for school purposes takes priority over all other uses, and users are restricted to the times and locations of the building. But again, that could be changed based on building principal and or community ed director with our administrative guidelines. So again, just information for the board that we do have a priority list. Obviously, academics comes first. Under the Michigan election law, again, another concern because laws do change when a polling election is on site. The Michigan election inspector does have full authority to maintain the peace, regularity, and order in the polling place and to enforce obedience to their lawful commands during any primary or election during the canvass of votes after the polls closed. So again, there's different rules. School rules don't necessarily apply in certain circumstances. And I don't want to bring this up, but I have to, i.e. open carry is allowable during an election. And again, anything outside of 100 feet of the building entrance can be used by voters or candidates for campaigning purposes. And I know talking to Ms. James, they actually tape it off. They try to really put these particular candidates in a certain area so they're not interfering as much as is potentially possible. And again, one of the things that we have to look at from a school standpoint is the space 100 feet out from the polling site. We have a lot of space. We have a lot of space. So again, when students and staff are on campus, could potentially be a lot of interaction and a lot of concerns, safety concerns that I think we need to be cognizant of if students are in session during an election that Argentine Township would be using our facility for polling. Some other concerns, and really I changed this as of today after talking to Ms. James. When we talk about the November 5th election, I had some concerns because we have a calendar in place that puts students in session on November 5th. Under the Michigan election law, there are date limits in changing polling locations. Talking to Ms. James, trying to change the polling location for November 5th at this point is off the table. So we have to move forward. So what does that look like for 25-26? November 4th, according to our calendar right now, it is a scheduled date for students and staff. We could move forward with having discussions with the LEA about potentially moving that day to make it a non-school day for students. Again, we already have a negotiated calendar, so they would have to be in agreement with that. That would obviously come back to the board as well. In 26, 27, and beyond, much easier to plan for these particular dates because we don't have a negotiated or an agreeable calendar in place for 26, 27, and beyond. I did receive feedback from 4 local school districts who use school facility buildings as polling places. Student and staff safety, that was their number one concern. Some of the school districts have been doing it for many, many years. They don't have school on those particular days. The February election threw a lot of people off because contracts were in place. I believe our Attorney General changed that particular primary last February, which caused some contractual issues with calendars. Some were able to move it. Other school districts that I talked to, they weren't. Their comment to me, do it without students in session. And they did say presidential elections are always worse than primary and local elections. And I think it's the turnout we get for those big elections. Moving forward, again, November 5th, I think we have to move beyond that. I would ask the board to allow me to continue discussions with Argentine Township and the LEA to work with them to allow or look at using our multi-purpose building as a polling site with students not in session. So with that, I'll open it up for any discussion from the board.
All right, thanks, Ross. Any comments or questions from board members? Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Selsky, for the presentation. Very thorough and conclusive. The idea this year, I know it's off the table, but this EvoCon scheduled for November 1st. That's a PD day?
Yeah, originally, when we were looking at potential switches, November 1st is scheduled as a PD day. So when we looked at that as a potential switch, and where I was going to go with that with the board is that's probably not feasible or logistically possible at this point because Ms. Thomas has already organized that. We've got presenters coming in. We've got staff already signed up to present. So that was a talking point prior to me changing it after my conversation with Ms. James today.
But do we typically have a PD day about that time of year every year?
For the 25-26 calendar, yes, we do have a PD day.
So,
Potentially.
Seeing if we can target that opportunity to put on the Tuesday of election days in the future, seems like a good marriage.
Yes, and again, I think the biggest thing we've got to work with Mr. Murphy is the LEA for the 25-26 calendar. But I think moving forward after that, because we don't have a calendar, we have some ability there.
Well, like I said, I concur with you and your observation. Just driving by the township hall down there, it's relatively small parking lot to start with. What really concerned me was the fire department's issues. They had to evacuate the premise basically for the whole day, and all the things that spun out of control with that, where they had to keep trucks running to keep things from freezing, potentially, that time of year. So I was very moved by that, but I would just like to, that we should try and support Argentine Township at every turn. They do a great job for us on the SRO, for the high school, central, and middle school campus, and Argentine Elementary too, for that matter. So I think we've got some opportunities. The law has basically shut us down for this year, which is probably not good for Argentine Township, but it is what it is. So, but I think we've got opportunities very likely in the future to move forward and work with Argentine Township and meet this need for them, because obviously staying where they're at is, especially if we were to move back to more of a one-day voting process or a shorter window. The 9-day voting window that exists now, it's going to be curious whether that alleviates some of the pressure on their facility. It probably will. It has to, a little bit, but will it be significant? I don't know. I doubt it, but we'll see. So, but yeah, I think we're on the right track here. If we can work with them in the near future as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to be targeting our facility as a good option for them. So, again, students not in session would be the best option, because there's just gonna be so much traffic going on. And it's like, we just like to have a better feel about what traffic's coming on campus that day. And that's the only way we can do it, is if we don't have students in.
And I know when Ms. James, and Leslie, when we met with them, Greg, we met at the multi-purpose building, so we were able to walk them around, and I know they, just listening to them and talking, kind of already visualizing how that building could really work for them.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, I'm also agreeable to continuing that discussion to move it to the Argentine, and of course, without the students in session would be the best idea also for the safety. And I also think it'd probably be good for students to know why they're getting off school, and then maybe they'll think more about elections as they get to be adults to do that. And I think when it's off a student facility and you gotta go to school, they maybe don't see that. So that's just another added benefit, I think, for students and the community.
I think that's a really good point, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of tag onto that. I had a similar thought, that the fact that not only do we have an opportunity to use this new building that we have to continue to have reason to bring people in the community in, which it's already being used for, but yeah, what a great integration, maybe get people more involved in the process. I know there's a tiny part of me that thinks about the hecticness of trying to go into that area to park and get a spot and all that, and so, who knows if maybe that deters some people from even going in there. And I even just think about the traffic, the way that, we could probably have one-way traffic kind of going through there through the multi-purpose in one way and kind of all the way out the other. So I think it really lends itself to, being a great venue for that without the students. So yeah, and I give credit to all the individuals that came up and spoke and kind of brought it to the table. And thank you, Mr. Soselsky, for continuing the discussion. And yeah, I look forward to seeing how it plays out. Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate the information and looking into this, Russ. I think just a couple things. Number one, small municipalities and stuff just face a huge challenge with space. And Argentine obviously doesn't have a whole lot of other options. So, it's kind of I can say no-brainer, but in my, methodology, it's kind of a no-brainer to make this available if at all possible. And I think another piece of it is we always look to the community for support, to support the bond and vote for, for bonds and sinking funds and things like that. And I think that helps kind of shape the perception of, we're not just asking the community support and put in tax dollars and things like that, this is a way to give back as well. So even if you don't have kids in the school district or anything like that, you're still benefiting from that investment. in another way. So I think this is an awesome opportunity. And another, get more faces looking at Linden and, show off what we have.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said already also. I mean, it's a little bit unfortunate that it's a little bit too late for this year, but in a way, it's probably a good thing so that everything can be done correctly and well thought out and, not starting the first time with a big election, having a smaller one to start with might be a good idea too, just to kind of see what some of the challenges might be even on our own campus. So, yeah, I'm in full support of this as well. So, thank you for
Thank you.
continuing that
And I'll
conversation
continue to work with Arden
and bringing it back to us.
the
Yeah,
LEA at this point.
perfect. Very good. All right, with that, that was our last item for this evening. There is no closed session, so at 6:38, we are adjourned.